Hey, it's Prerak and this is episode 5 of many on the LoRa all-wheel drive series. In the previous video, we made all 4 wheels spin finally. In this video, we will sort out all the mechanicals and make it roadworthy to a point where I can daily drive it with no issues. First on the priority list are brakes. The current ABS module never accepted basic settings no matter how hard we tried. Basic settings are a set of functions that need to be carried out in order to make the ABS work properly. But in our attempts to make the existing one work, it just bricked on us and presented these plethora of lights on the dash. So we tried to make a spare one that we had lying around work. We first cleaned it thoroughly by opening it. This is what the inside of an ABS looks like, by the way. But after installing it in the car, it showed a set of faults which indicated that the ABS was faulty as well. As a last resort, we got another used one out of a Skoda Superb, installed it, and this one accepted the coding and basic setting in the first try. And after a long time, I saw a clean dash. Then I spent the rest of the evening putting the interior back together. I really wanted to put it all back and paint it black, but I want to do it properly and not rush it. So that will be done at a later stage. For now, the interior goes back in as is, so that further progress can be made. Next up, exhaust. This is a catbag exhaust out of a Skoda Superb VR6 I have taken all the parts from. It has a resonator and 2 mufflers, and most importantly, it is dual exit with quad tips, which will look really good on the car. So I took the car back to car surgeons to first get a new custom downpipe made. We decided to fabricate a 3-inch stainless steel catless downpipe. Once the downpipe was ready, the entire exhaust setup was hung in place. The rear end needs a little final adjustment, so the bumper will stay off for the time being. While the car was being worked on, we noticed this wheel had a tiny crack in it. I was pretty sure it would not get repaired properly for it to be problem free, but I still got it repaired so it holds air and ordered a used one which shall soon arrive as well. Now we are ready to pay attention to one of the most important aspects of the car, the cooling system. Since the beginning, the DQ250 did not have a coolant hooked to it, and now we can change that. We ordered new parts, and for the parts we could not find, we used the next best options. I ordered this coolant line which has a split in the middle which will go to one of the ends of the DQ250's oil cooler, a new oil cooler, and a new mount for the DQ250. And a new engine coolant line as well. We could not order this T-fitting, so we used the next best option, which is better as Skoda uses plastic T-fittings, so this is technically an upgrade. Once the coolant was sorted, we took it for a test run to check for possible leaks or air in the system. It was all fine. This TQ250 has a launch control, which gets activated only after a certain temperature, and now with the coolant hooked up, that temperature was reached and launch could be initiated for the very first time. That went better than I expected, and I could not believe that all four wheels spun there. It was so relieving to watch it all work. With some of the mechanical sorted, we can now focus on some less important things like the AC. With the heat heavily beating, I'm glad I fixed this before it got too late. This car has a replacement compressor installed already with an external relay which looks a little ugly, so I painted the connector black, extended the wiring and ran it along the factory harness so it is as less visible as possible. And then I got the AC gas filled back up as well. The only thing left to make this car running right is a set of good tires. The ones I'm running currently are not only of the wrong size, but they have also been dry rotted. So I found a set of good used Michelin Primacy 4Ss of the correct size and got to work on getting them fitted. Once they were installed, it entirely transformed the way the car looked. The previous set was sitting really stretched, and this set sits pretty much flush with the rim. With some added cushioning and a slightly higher profile and soft rubber, the car felt smooth to drive as well. But it had a loose front end, and this was the reason. Since we swapped the gearbox on this with an all-wheel drive one, we were not able to find a sway bar which was all-wheel drive compatible. Until now. I got a front subframe out of a Skoda Yeti which has an all-wheel drive sway bar, and I got some new bushes for it as well. I first removed it out of the Yeti subframe and removed its old bushes which were stuck on there. I then prepped and painted it the best I could, using a metal wire brush to get rid of some of the surface rust and then spray painted it black. I did initially want to get it powder coated, but there are about a million more components that I wish to get powder coated. I'll take up this project at a later date. I spent the rest of the evening replacing the coolant reservoir. With age, the plastic on it had got so brittle that I could puncture it with a screwdriver, and it was on the verge of giving up. So I got a brand new coolant reservoir and replaced it. The very next day, I took the car back at car surgeons to install the sway bar and replace its dog bone bushing as well. They very quickly dismantled the front subframe, replaced the worn out dog bone bushing with a new one, and installed the sway bar with new hardware and put the subframe back up. Before I knew it, the job was completed. With fresh rubber, new mounts, and a sway bar, the car had started to feel like it just rolled out of the factory floor. It was driving so smooth that I started to daily drive it this week, and I run all of my errands in it. So, this has been the progress so far on the project Laura, and all it needs now are some finishing touches which will be added in the next episode, which is going to be the last episode on the Laura all-wheel drive series. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
सारी गलती आपकी है। गाड़ी में स्ट्रॉबेरी शेक डालना बंद करो।